exciting day. Donald, you and Andrew have been working together for how long?
Oh, I lost count. About 8 years, Andrew?
Yeah, about 8 years. 2017, 18 time frame, I want to say.
Okay, through a lot. Um, in that time, you've developed some very interesting connections and opportunities and been seeing each other through a lot. Um, in the Legends world, we talk about heroes and guides. And I would venture to say that each of you have treated the other as hero and worked as guide for each other. Would you say that that's accurate?
Oh, yes. At times, it's like it's the student becomes a teacher type of a thing. Yeah, over and over again. I think it's the ability to humble yourself and know that we don't know everything. That's been the key.
So Andrew, what's your take? How did you meet Donald? How did you become involved in this pretty long-term business relationship as these sorts of things go?
Yeah, I met Donald because I was looking for another product to buy to grow my business and work on mindset improvement. And Donald was working for a company at the time as like a screener, like a exploratory call person that you had to book with if you wanted to buy this product. I think it was like a $700 product. I don't really remember exactly what it is now, but I remember after a half an hour call with Donald, he said to me, he said, you've been through Tony Robbins coaching program. You've been through a couple years of consistency around going to classes through the Keller Williams, which is a realty company, coaching programs and training programs. And you've also you got the whole library of Dan Kennedy books on marketing. He says, what you need is not another product. You don't need another product. You need coaching. And I remember distinctly, he told me that. He says, I'm not going to sell you the product, but what I will offer you is an opportunity to do business coaching with me because Donald told me this. He says, I've grown multiple businesses from where you're at now, which was about just shy of $1 million revenue, to a $10 million revenue business in the service industry. And so he proved that to me with some case study examples. And then after, maybe the second call, I bought coaching with Donald for a year. And it was awesome. It doubled my business within, 3 years time, 2 years time.
Donald, why have you kept Andrew around so long?
He listens. He does. He takes action. And at times you can work with anybody. You can tell people all kinds of stuff. It's actually doing something. And Andrew's been the kind of person that takes action. And I'm kind of an action-oriented person. There's no magic in getting results. Um, the magic is actually taking action. I think somewhere along the line, he's got that inside of them, but I think I also inspired him. So I think part of my coaching abilities have been really is getting people to take action, stop buying stuff and start doing stuff. And that I think that's was really the core difference for Andrew.
So Andrew, you started Trout Brook in '06. So
Well,
how many
I
years is that?
incorporated Trout Brook in '06. I started landscaping on my own. I developed my own kind of like a side business of customers. In addition to whatever job I was doing, I was always servicing lawns and trimming for people. And then around 2010, I really started Trout Brook. Yeah, after the financial crisis.
Hmm. So as an arborist, you've shared in a variety of settings that you have sought out training, you've sought out uh, a peer group, you've sought out informational trainings. Like you're kind of a connoisseur of masterminds, of training programs, of seminars. What have you found most valuable overall in seminars, and what, as an arborist, do you think is a hole in the market?
So yeah, that's really interesting in terms of how we apply it to the arborist business because a lot of the coaching and training that I've received is focusing on scaling and growing the employees and growing the organizational chart of your business. And that is a difficult thing to do with the tree industry, especially if you don't have mastery of every job and you're not a natural manager leader, which I'm a natural leader, but I'm not a natural manager. I had to learn those skills over time. And so I'm at the point now where I understand the business, the personality types, the the necessary I guess characteristics a person would have to fit each leadership role. So it's just difficult to scale a business, in my opinion, that has so much compliance, there's so much equipment and capital expenditure associated with it, and there's traffic on the roadways. There's things that can go wrong. You're in a live field uh environment every day with tree service. If you have 4 crews out and it starts to thunder, you have to text all 4 crews, hey, there's thunder coming, because they're not paying attention necessarily. They might not know. There's just so many different things like that. If there's road closures, all of a sudden a huge accident and the highway gets backed up and all the roads around town get clogged, you got to let the crews know. There's just so much that's difficult about scaling the arborist business, and it's the highest hazard land-based work that it is out there. So what I found for me that worked the best is the marketing aspect of learning about how to talk to customers, how to find the affluent customers. And if you can find a customer where you can earn high profit with them and have a relationship where they keep calling you again and again, you can build everything from there. So it's like using like the idea of people develop a product and they put it out in the marketplace to see how the marketplace reacts to that product. But in the arborist business, you develop a customer and then you put a product in the customer's hands and you see what sticks. So we do a lot of referral marketing with our customers. We do tree planting, landscape installation. Even if I don't do it, Donald always taught me every call that comes in is a possible money call. So you can always refer someone. You can always keep that customer relationship going. And when you find the right customer, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. So you want to keep that customer around. When you find the wrong customer, you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. So it's all those concepts of like customer acquisition, customer retention, and customer communication that's been most valuable for me in the tree business. And then everything else evolves from there. So when we want to scale our crews, when we want to temporarily scale up seasonally when there's storms, that's something you can do as like a secondary effect, but first make the foundation and the basis of the business be, your systems, but also your communication with your customers, having a customer list. That for me, doing all the self-improvement activities I've done, that stands out above everything. I was just at the grocery store buying some food for a party, Christmas party for the employees I'm having tonight, and one of my top customers, he always talks to me for extra time. He came up to me and he
Nice.
really looked me in the eye and he wants to know how I'm doing, what's going on, and we're sharing stuff back and forth. He says, I used to have a business. I know how hard the entrepreneurial path is, Andrew, and I want you to know I honor you. It's really
Beautiful.
amazing what you've done. So many people choose to do a different path, but you've stuck with it. And that really means something to me. And we have that relationship with our customers here in town. And that's something that, gosh, it's like, now it's like so funny. I learned so much from Donald over the years, but it's like now years later, some of the stuff that he was trying to teach me in the beginning and I wasn't applying, I didn't have the foundational mindset about its customer centric business. Now I can apply those things. Now I have the right people in the right roles. I'm ready to grow, so it's very exciting times. But that was out of all the self-improvement that I've done, it's aligning your mindset so that you can be productive and take action, but also realizing what business are you really in, which for us is a luxury customer business. The arborist business is a luxury customer business. And that's, if I keep that in mind, everything flows well from there and profit comes and growth comes, easier.
So, Donald, in the consulting world, we're seeing a shift in training, in business growth to a very digital footprint as opposed to manpower, woman power, people power out in the field working in real life, IRL, and actually doing work with their hands on living entities that make a difference to the planet, which in my mind means there's a hole in this difficult to manage industry. It's got 30 times the fatality rates of any of the average fatality for the workman's comp statistics. It is one of the most difficult to train and attract talent and keep talent in. Do you see that widening gap of applicability in a traditional coaching program that the data is showing?
Yeah, it actually doesn't address it at all. And so there's a huge opportunity here in the arborist industry because of that gap. We've actually addressed all of those things very specifically as using Andrew's business as the test case, right? Proving that out, finding out what doesn't work, but actually finding the best and quality tools that do work. And if you can incrementally move any of those needles on those items, you're not just moving top line revenue in a business, you're creating a higher level of profitability within enterprise, but you're also, I think, building what a lot of entrepreneurs miss out of their business is true freedom. Andrew's been able to develop true freedom. He just what in the heart of the season took 2 weeks off to spend in Miami because we've got his business running correctly. And it is having
That's big.
it is hiring better. It is using some of those digital tools correctly and applying them specifically the way they can and should be applied for an arborist business. It's not like every other business. So we've figured some of that stuff out. So partly we've done some things wrong to figure out what to do right. So we've shortened the learning curve specifically in applying that. And also the dynamic in the arborist industry between the workers and the kind of tools that they've got to use, right? They've got things that are spinning really, really fast that are very, very sharp. And there's things that have to be taken care of. And if you take care of those things, your liabilities go down, your injuries go down. Andrew's, insurance rates and things like that, rather than not paying attention and having your liability insurance climb, pay attention to those things because that steals your profitability, but it also keeps you up at night. So it's getting all that under control profoundly.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So I've given you both this quote separately, but I want to get your take on it together. Andrew, this is the quote we agreed on was one of our favorites, and it's a Greek proverb. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in.
Hmm.
How does, I mean, it's a little counterintuitive to say, let's form a consortium and let me, if I'm speaking as you, Andrew, share all of my hard-won wisdom that makes me the competitive edge organization that I am. Let me just put that all together and let me empower all these other businesses. There's something that is very unique there that is counterintuitive to much that is encompassed in an MBA program that says keep your friends close and your enemies closer, but don't give them your secrets. Don't give them your best stuff. Don't give them the tools to be better than you. So
Yeah.
why would either one of you consider putting your best thinking into a place where it really will empower so many tree businesses, arborists, men similar to yourself, Andrew, that are so devoted to ensuring that we live in a place that is surrounded by the beauty of our forests and our landscapes?
I'll answer that question with another quote by
Mhm.
one of my virtual mentors, an author named Dan Kennedy. He used to teach this idea. He said, if you could put all your competitors in a room and you could teach them a sophisticated, multi-level, multi-point marketing system over the course of 7 hours, by hour one, they're getting up to go to the bathroom and they're not coming back because the type of person that sits in that seminar room for 7 hours to get to the end is like the top 2%. So I'm not worried about teaching the 98%. They're not going to sit down and listen. They're not going to invest in it, their time, their treasure. They're not going to take action on these things. So I'm really looking to connect. It's lonely as you start to get more skilled and have a better business. So I'm looking to
Mhm.
connect with other entrepreneurs for my own happiness, my own well-being, my own excitement. I get enthralled by being around other people who are doing things and they have their own things they're sharing with me that we don't know. So I'm really reviewing it from the perspective of if I can connect with the type of people who take action and will sit in the seminar room for hours at a time to learn all the things that they know they need to learn a lot of people don't even read books. I mean, in this industry, especially like every industry, it's epidemic. You even go into industries that are high literacy industries like attorney profession, the medical profession, you might find a higher percentage of people that will read on their weekend, but it's epidemic in every industry. There's very few people engaging with self-improvement. And in this industry, I'd like to see people engage with self-improvement more because it keeps people safer and it makes it a better environment for me to do business. In general, like nationwide, I can draw more ideas, more employees, if there's a better cohort of people who are learning. But I'm not totally like it's not even in the realm of like thought that there's going to be competition from me teaching other people what I know. What it's going to be is it's going to be all it's going to be a rising tide lifts all boats. That's what we're looking at here.
I love that.
My thought on it is I think of the Marines, the slogan, the few, the proud. Okay. And not everybody's going to be a Marine, but I'm doggone happy we have them. Right. And I think in business, I think we have created a business that is one of the few that we are very, very proud of in Andrew's business. And we want to find a handful that can also be the few, the proud, because that ripple effect will ripple out to all the other businesses that will probably take just portions of all of that knowledge and all of that skill and do some of it, and everybody will get better. I've got grandkids, and it changes when you start looking at legacy. What are we going to leave behind? So why are we doing this? It's the next generation.
Yeah, and to compound upon that, during Hurricane Helene, during high crisis situations, some of the most competent, effective people in managing emotion and managing actual physical high tensile emergency danger and hazard are arborists. Arborists are highly innovative, they're highly competent, they're able to go in without fear and take care of situations that need to be taken care of. So it's a really a big benefit for the country from an emergency service standpoint to have people who are better positioned with more established businesses to go
Yeah.
out and do emergency response. I loved seeing that during Hurricane Helene. I love being a part of it. I would show up and I was like, here we are, the cavalry has arrived. Power company couldn't do it. Police couldn't do it. Fire company couldn't do it. Cavalry has arrived. Andrew with his crane.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was
Well,
great.
you're
So
better equipped
yeah.
with dealing with those emergencies.
Well,
Like,
and I know
let's,
how the wood cuts too. Like I know the
yeah,
fibers, the white oak versus the red oak, like how you got to cut them and expect reactions differently from different trees. There's a lot to it, right? So I have the
it
knowledge
is a
and
science.
the
Yeah.
other arborists have this too. It's a lost art, that we have, and we're valuable to society for protection of risk and also management of crisis situations. So it's empowering the arborists to really own their position in society. And there's more that can come from that, not just doing the arborist work, but the consulting, helping people with insurance claims, helping people gain confidence how to rebuild and replant afterwards, which trees to put back, all that stuff.
Well, I think the research that we've uncovered with Kim's help too shows that the arborist industry is really poised for a massive growth over the next few years. And the question is,
Growth.
how much of that do you want to be a part of? Do you want to sit on the sidelines and watch others grab that extra business, or do you want to be part of that extra business? So our goal here, as we develop and share our knowledge, is that people are partaking more of that growth. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, and part of the challenge of why it's going to happen is because we're looking environmentally at very severe weather.
Hmm.
And depending on who you talk to, did we create it? Did we do this to ourselves? Did we contaminate the planet and now the planet's getting revenge on us? Or is this just a season of millions of years that we're just in that category now where we're going to have extreme weather events, where we're going to have more wildfires, where we're going to have more drought, where we're going to have more severe weather from the oceans and hurricanes and tornadoes. All of those elements seem to be coming together to create a very high intensity emergency response need. And we're not meeting those catastrophic needs well. Andrew, you sit on the East Coast, Donald and I on the West Coast. Despite the differences geographically, the severity of the weather events is intensifying. And without a very well-trained cohort of, in essence, emergency responders, because there are lives at stake when bad things happen and huge trees come crashing down. That's not the safest environment for people driving, trying to get out of the way of a big storm. There's a lot of dangers that have to be addressed. And if the trend continues where there's fewer and fewer trained experts with crews that are able to jump into action just on a moment's notice and be ready to go with the right equipment, we leave a hole that results in things like in my county where you can no longer obtain emergency insurance for these kinds of events. You just can't get it. So we have a massive exposure.
Yeah, like fire exposure. Also, I would posit that the arborist's greatest opportunity is positioning in the customer's mind, and what ends up happening with all these events, and there's a need for surveying, assessing, and a subject matter writing a report about risk. A subject matter expert writing a report about risk, because people defer in the environment of municipal standards or litigation. People defer to subject matter experts, and the arborist, because he works with his hands doing the work and he has academic knowledge about the theory of the work he's performing and always adding to it, right, with the actual field experience year over year. It's always being studied and added to. He's the subject matter expert, or she's the subject matter expert, such that they will be relied upon and positioned in the customer's mind for surveying, reporting, assessing prior to these storm events or in the cleanup of the storm events. That's something that it's a frame that hasn't been explored enough for the arborist. And sometimes we cross paths with it because insurance companies want us to do reports, or the town wants us to write a critical hazard assessment for the town trees over the sidewalk, and you're flattered by it. You're like, yeah, I guess I am qualified to do that. But what I'm looking to do over the next 25 years is really position myself and continually get better and train other people so we can be the subject matter experts to prevent things like forest fires from vegetation growth and suburban sprawl and all the different stuff that comes about, wind hazards. Because as an arborist, you've seen so many failures. You know when the roots are weak. You know when the wood is ready to let go in the next windstorm. You have a sixth sense for it after having so many jobs, and there's very few people who have that sixth sense and who have the credibility and the certifications to be able to position themselves as a credible expert in the field.
Well, and I think the other hole is the fragmentation that we see in the industry. So the data shows us that there are over 175,000 arborist firms. The growth is tremendous, but there is very little in terms of an organized spokespersons, thought leadership group that really informs both insurance companies, policymakers, infrastructural experts. There seems to be a really serious hole where because of the type of work that you're doing, it's difficult to scale on a big basis, and so
for some people in certain areas, and some people have it figured out better than others. So, it's difficult. You find a lot of firms want to buy, but also leave the owner in charge as a manager when they have a buyout of a large, like a company with 5 crews or something. It's a tough business to scale. I agree. So,
but I'm wondering if 10, 20 arborists like you had an opportunity to be referenced as an expert panel and say, as a community, as a state, Are these the right regulations
Oh,
to put in
I think
place?
what's going to happen from the mastermind group is there's going to be individuals in there who are already in touch with their state or their localities and trying to create a better standard in the arborist industry, and just having more cohesion and communication and brotherhood or sisterhood in the industry, that there's going to be tangential offshoots from that are going to benefit the industry. And maybe it's something we're a part of too, or maybe it's something that we're a part of, empowering somebody who goes and does it themselves. But there's going to be more like official training and certification programs at a higher level over time, I believe, down the line here in this industry, if we can stick together and not be fragmented. Yeah.
I think that's the power, is being able to join together and take the top minds, because you'll be geographically dispersed, which means your expertise
That's right.
is spread across various need points. But if you can make a unified statement about a true emergency situation that might have been prevented, might have been dealt with better, might be dealt with better the next time, then it feels to me like you're in a position, one, to save lives, two, to prevent a lot of property destruction, and three, to leave the world
Yeah.
better than where we found it.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have more standards, more of credibility, officiality to the industry over time. And the way that's going to happen is the better operators join together to come up with better strategies for managing, leading their own businesses, and then also positioning and framing their interactions with municipalities, utility companies, larger commercial contracts, and the public at large. It's been something that has been lacking, and there's some avenues for education. There's modules for training with some of these organizations, the national organizations, and I've always felt like there could be so much more in that arena. And now I feel well positioned to be able to contribute to it. It's like, why complain about it? Oh, well, I didn't end up in a corporate setting. I ended up having my own business in kind of a fragmented industry. Well, why complain about it? Go do something about it. Here we
Yeah,
are. So that's kind of my mindset on
tackle
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems to be, from the data, it seems that that is a common factor in the top arborist companies.
We're hungry for standards, for level playing field, for communication and fellowship with other arborists. Yep.
So, Donald, this is a piece of data that is universal about peer advisory, about coaching, about masterminding, about teamwork and advisory panels. Um, a joint report indicates that 70% of mastermind members overall report that they were able to solve critical business challenges because of group input, that they gained really important knowledge from other members, not
Mhm.
necessarily just from the person facilitating, but that across the peer advisory group, that someone inevitably had the answer to a challenge. Has that been your experience?
Consistently. That's why I've consistently joined mastermind groups. And as I've run my own mastermind groups, as we structure this one too, we're going to make sure that we're going to present some incredible stuff, and then we're going to roll up our sleeves and take action on it. And there's time and energy put into that. So it's not just Andrew and I's talking heads, but we're making sure that with each session, we're spending the last 30 minutes in that collaborative environment so people can bring those questions in there. I think they're crucial. I'm sure we will all be available to each other between those calls as well. And as have built my own businesses over the years, you can make a lot of decisions. And they're not answers you can find with an online search or using AI. Um, and sometimes it's got to take more than one person wetting their finger and putting it up to the wind and saying, "Oh yeah, that's the way the wind is blowing." It takes validation across a few before you take action. But the other key is in business, you got to take those actions very, very quickly. So having real-time access to that mastermind group It's priceless in business. I don't know how people do it without it. I've never done it without it.
Super lonely
Yeah, very lonely.
and usually not very profitable.
Not
So,
very, yeah.
Andrew,
My,
that same
my first
report,
business, I was talking to Andrew the other day, I had a lawn mowing business as a teenager, but my first business was a landscape company. My first two were actually. First one I did with two partners, and they were both 10 years older than me. And we ran a lot of money through that business. Most of it went to the hardware store at the end of the season. We made a lot of money for the guy that was selling us all those shovels. We didn't realize that. Silly us, right? So were we good at doing what we did? Yeah, but there's some things we didn't know. It was a little bit of a shock.
which is why I think this data point, Andrew, um, individuals within these kinds of accountability groups say that they achieve 95% of their stated goals compared to only half of the goals achieved if they're working by themselves. Can you validate that?
It, it's like if you put a goal or an image on the wall, right, and you're staring at it every day, your brain finds a way to get to the goal. So that's a part of it. But if you're also in a mastermind group where you're in real time, like learning strategies and connecting with other people who've already achieved that goal, I mean, sky's the limit. Make bigger goals. That's what I have to say.
Yeah.
So play devil's advocate for me for a minute. Why would it be a bad idea to be a part? If you're an arborist,
If you're already if you feel like if you can't dedicate the time to it, if you have like so the problem with this is that a lot of people don't have their mindset and their personal life and their health habits in a position where they're really going to have sustainable growth. And so, unfortunately, what ends up happening, to be in full honesty here, that when you get involved with self-improvement or business improvement or really high-level strategy, high-minded thinking, it ends up being more of a work on the man than a work on the business. And so if the man's a real mess, you may not get the value out of the mastermind group before you may need a therapist and you may need to take some time and go wean yourself off of whatever your vices are before you can participate play at a full level. That would be my advice. That's a pattern that we see again and again. It's like you end up working on the man more than the business in the mastermind groups. So, or woman. Yeah.
hey, Donald, how do you answer that?
If you're looking for the trick or the magic or the shiny object, um, don't waste your time. Go watch a YouTube video. But if you're really looking to grow a solid um, legacy business, come along. That's it.
Okay. So let's talk nuts and bolts for a minute. Um, Applications are open.
Yep.
Uh, Hard launch, January 2026, new year, new
Yep.
quarter. Each quarter, you delve into very practical, very hands-on pieces of business, informed by research, by data, by very current practices and current needs in the industry. Um, you're going to meet twice a week with the same subject matter for each of those sessions in case someone can't make it
Yep.
to the two. One will suffice and give some flexibility into it, but each of them, each week you'll focus in on very particular business metrics. Am
Yep.
I
That's correct.
accurate in
Yeah.
that?
And we've got a time for a later meeting on Monday and then midday Eastern, early day on Thursday. Um, the content too is also going to be targeted at the actual people in the group. So as people come into the group, we're going to get to know them. We're going to get to know each other. So very actionable knowledge that we're going to actually see taking place within the businesses as they go through the art. And we're going to learn as we go. I mean, Andrew and I are still learning. We're not stopping learning. This is not a static mastermind. This is a dynamic mastermind. So they're going to be at the cutting edge consistently.
Yeah, and
Uh,
I would also posit that there are some magic tricks that happen when you go into storm season.
Mm.
There's like really great opportunities to make back like more like whatever your goals are to get out of the mastermind group for business improvement. I mean, if you have a little bit of luck in the storm season and you're well positioned for it, it's like abundant profit can be made in the spring season, right? It's right around the corner. So,
Abundant profit. Yeah.
by the same token, the data shows that some people actually lose their shirts in a
Yep.
storm season because they don't have those systems in place because they take unnecessary risks
that's right.
and because they don't know how to negotiate those rates in an emergency, and worse, they don't know how to collect the check.
Yep.
That's right.
True.
So I think earlier you shared about doing some investing in silver, and just like you invest in a commodity like that, if you don't watch the timing, you don't watch the values, and you don't have a dedication of paying attention to it consistently, it's just as easy to lose everything as it is to really do well.
Yeah.
It's well, especially when you're operating with like a bit of leverage loans, capital expenditure, payroll, you have to stay ahead of things. As soon as you start to go to where you're below break even, and if your metrics are able to show that for yourself, then you get into a situation of high risk, for your business in terms of cash flow and things can. And then one thing happens when you're, like you break your leg or some, death in the family, something slows you down, and next thing you know, you're not prepared for it. So yeah, that can happen in business, especially when people are leveraged. So it'd be really risky. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like every high stakes game, you got to know the rules, you got to have the right pieces in play, and you better have a backup plan. And sometimes we find those backups inside these professional networks that it's impossible to find somewhere else
Yeah.
because they're very
It's like
unique.
I think of it like do you want to buy, an old Ford truck if you live in the Northeast? No, because the Ford trucks rust out. You buy an old Chevy if you live in the Northeast because they last longer in the snow. There's like tips and tricks that people know, and with the brands, what type of spider lift do I get? What's the serviceability of that brand? That you can really make a mistake and have a horrible experience, but everybody told you it was a good brand, but the arborists know because we have that experience. So that's something I've always leaned upon was the experience of other arborists with which brands to buy and which models of equipment to get involved with. That's huge because you can make an investment. Nobody cares that thing's sitting in the warranty repair line for 12 weeks while you're waiting on a part or waiting for them to diagnose what's wrong with it because they put the machinery out too quickly before they had finally figured out all the bugs and the kinks in it. And then you're the guinea pig. Everybody, all the arborists have been through this type of experience before. They've heard horror stories about it. I've probably happened to me 3 or 4 times over the years and it sucks. And so like that's one important thing. You can learn the brands to buy that fit your market, that fit, the driveways that you're coming in and out of, the type of trees and the size of the trees that you're dealing with. And that's been huge to me and something I continue to look forward to is getting that advice from other arborists.
And as we've learned in working with Andrew's business, so much money was being wasted in downtime, right?
Yeah.
And, forgetting simple things or, not having the right tools on the truck at the job site and having to run back to the shop and things, just little things like that. But you start getting that stuff under control and your business starts being an asset.
That's right.
Okay, so let's wrap up with a personalized invitation from each of you. I'm going to request that you do it in a legend structure and use the casting of uh, potential candidates for this mastermind, for this research intensive, the top of the top in the arborist industry, as the great hero, and you guys as the essential guides. Why is it important to you that we gather the top thinkers? What is the win? What is the success that you envision for yourselves and for the great heroes, the arborists companies, and more importantly, for the generations to come? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think the landscape out there is changing in business. The big 800-pound gorilla is AI, and a lot of people are going to get displaced because things are going to change. They always have, they always will. But there's a huge potential out here for those people that are staying fine-tuned to it. The enemy, I think, is a lot of shiny objects out there. There's no lack of information, but the enemy really is not being able to wade through the information. I think the arborists have got a chance to be the great hero to the markets they serve, and those markets they serve are growing the families that are really the backbone of our country. And so as we're doing this, I mean, I think the inspiration here is this is our world we live in. And they're touching down in a very core part of what humanity is about is our shelter. As essential guides, as Andrew and I guide the arborists really, because of their education, their positions, are their guides in their marketplace. They should be the businesses that are turned to first and have that potential in so many things and so much, even things they don't touch. Think about the wrap on that home with the gutters, with the roof, with everything, right? With what's sitting in the street, the kids are playing ball. Everything is coming down to that. And I think that the new path is really integrating all of the knowledge that we've gained and putting it into a very specific structure where we're wading through the fluff. It's not the rah-rah motivation. It's not the business systems that we've tried to buy into that just don't fit the arborist business. The danger is really not taking action, because saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do this next year, I'm gonna do this another time," there is not another time. Things are moving, things are changing fast. It's going to be really crucial for businesses to get on board and do things the right way this year, more than probably any other year that we've seen in a long, long time. History is telling us exactly that. At the end of the day, success, I think, is going to be with real people doing really, really real things. And so I think what we're going to be calling out in this mastermind group are those people that are the action takers. And I think when the success is when action takers get together, is not necessarily the numbers on the page. I think it's a feeling that we have inside that we actually did something.
I'll add to that I believe this group will turn people into what the way I feel in my town. It's like you're a made man. You have a business with a reputation, a positioning, loyal clients, diversified clientele. You have core people in your business working for you who are also replaceable because you have systems to orient yourself about how to train, lead, recruit, hire, and fire people. And the key is that your reputation, your business reputation, puts you in a position of being worth millions of dollars for your business if you want to ever sell it down the line or value it or do joint ventures with other people. Whatever you want to do with your business, you can do it if you have a systemized business. And this will systemize people's businesses, position them so that for years to come, a generation to come, if you want, you're going to have a solid business that you can count on as a cash flow machine. And that's right now. I want to share that with other people. I want to give people that comfort level, that security that you can be essentially a made man as an arborist. People don't call just you call you, they think you're a tree guy, But what they're really looking for and what you are when you show up is you're the guy that can do all the landscaping for them. You can give them the best advice on the trees, and then they found you and you're their guy forever. That's the relationship you want with your customers, and that's where the equity is in your company. And that's how it goes for me. I'm very excited about the future for myself, but I want to share it with other people too, and I want to learn. I want to know what I don't know. So I'm excited to have an Arborist Mastermind group, and to also empower other people who have their own ideas, innovative ideas. Maybe they have new ventures they're looking to go into to tack on to the arborist business. So I'm excited to see what's going to come, from the cohort and the mastermind group that we do here.
Great. So the site is arboristlegends.com. Next steps.
And on the website, there's a link to an application. I think the application alone will show you maybe some of the gaps in your own business. And so we've taken a lot of time designing an application that is, as you put some thought into that, is really going to help you in your business, even if you don't join the mastermind. So I'd encourage you to even check out the application, fill out the application. It also gives you an opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation with me. So as you fill out the application, hit the submit button, it will direct you directly to my calendar. And that alone is worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I can vouch for that. Every call
Okay.
with Donald's a really insightful call. Donald will go through the business and see and immediately pick up on some things, get a gauge of where you're at, and give you some insights. So it's a value regardless of whether you're going to join now or join later. It's a great value for anybody to go through a call with Donald.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, so close your eyes for a minute, both of you. You're speaking to this mastermind a year from now. You're wrapping up the year. You've been through 4 quarters, 4 seasons, 4 iterations of research, of learning, of interaction, of fellowship, of learning together, of fighting dragons together, of how am I going to get through this season versus how am I ever going to get all of this work that I've claimed done? I need more people, I need more staff, more equipment, more excitement. Think through what the one piece of wisdom that you would predict would last with you for the year. What have you got?
The
One piece of
power, the
wisdom.
biggest power that you have is inside yourself, and you didn't realize it. And by unleashing it, there's nothing you can't do.
Andrew, wrap us up with your brilliance.
Yeah, I'll add to that. It's like the controlling the power of your own mind, your own emotional state, so that you can be productive, happy, guided towards what you want in life. And that's something that is priceless once you understand that you have that control. Something I've been working on a lot this year. And combined with installing strategies, knowledge, ways of thinking, because what we're teaching here is a way of thinking. And you can immediately access that installed knowledge with an emotional state of connectivity, joy, productivity, warmth. It allows you to achieve. And that's the holy grail right there.
Love that. All right, I'm going to close this out by rewriting the Greek proverb. That's a little. But I would venture to say that a society grows great when old men join together in the planting of trees whose shade they know they shall never sit in, but for whom many generations forward enjoy the shade of those canopies. And I think that's what you're building.
Yeah. Thank
Gonna
you.
be good.
Yeah. If nothing else, there'll be more trees planted around the country because the arborists will be out there marketing the tree planting too, right? So
It'll win either way. Good job.
Cool.
These are the voices rising through time. Truth in the rhythm, fire in the line. From silence to signal, from echo to flame. Legends don't whisper, they rise with a name. Voices of legends. This is the upcast. Voices of legends. This is the upcast. Voices of legends, this is the upcast. Voices of legends, this is the upcast. Voices of legends, this is the upcast. Voices of legends. This is the upcast. Voices of legends, this is the upcast. Voices of legends, this is the upcast.